Yes.
Hello, everybody. This is Nick with Ugly Duckling Houses. I am here with Angela, and
Right.
we recently just closed on Angela's home. Angela was in kind of a unique situation, and I'll let her kind of share her story. But I do know that you had called several other cash home investors or cash buyers, and you ultimately landed on us. But yeah, Angela, if you wouldn't mind just kind of sharing, why you were looking to sell your house. I know, you'd been living out of state, and so this house was kind of already in your past by the time you'd called us. But if you wouldn't mind kind of sharing what the situation was and why you were looking to offload it, I think that'd be helpful to people listening.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna kind of start from the beginning. I bought the house before I was married. I got married to my high school sweetheart. We had a couple of kids. Things didn't work out. And at the time, I was a stay-at-home parent. And suddenly I had a mortgage and I had a car payment and no job and two very, very little kids. So I found what I could in the meantime and decided that I was going to put myself through school. So I worked full time. I went to school full time for a number of years. And then I found my big girl job in Washington, D.C.
Ooh.
My ex-husband throughout the course of, divorce and afterwards was very hesitant and kind of uncooperative in getting his name off of the mortgage. And so through this time, I wasn't able to refinance. I had a difficult time kind of talking to realtors about selling because he was very openly defiant about like signing any documents or any of that kind of thing. And I moved to Arlington, Virginia, which is crazy, crazy expensive during the pandemic. And rent just kind of kept going up and up and up. And I stopped being able to afford my mortgage in Wisconsin. Fell behind, was able to kind of catch it up, but then it started affecting my ex-husband's credit, and he was very, very willing to sign and offload the house. And I believe he actually got us in contact with one another.
That is
Um,
correct. Yep.
yeah, yeah. So very roundabout kind of way, but we were able to get him to sign a quit claims deed. And then we were able to go ahead and close on the house. And I haven't lived there for a number of years now. It's been about 4 years since I've lived there. So you guys have your work to do, and you were more than willing to kind of work with me in every situation, every obstacle that, I thought might be a hindrance. You guys have been fantastic.
I
And right,
appreciate that. I appreciate that. And I know there were a couple little obstacles, and thankfully, like on our side of things, we've got a nice team that's really stacked with experience. And whether it's like a probate case or, divorce case with multiple people on title, we do know and have the experience to know how to address these things. And I know you had spoken to a few different investors. Is that
correct.
correct?
That is
Um, it, and I think you had worked out at one point a deal with one of them, and it didn't end up coming to fruition. Is that correct? I don't know if you
that
can
is
kind of
correct.
speak on that.
Yeah. So there was somebody else who actually reached out to me during that time. I'd spoken with them, a couple of times before we started speaking. And then I let them I found out that my ex-husband had let them go through the house, and he was very interested. He was, throwing kind of lots of dollars, into the offer. And you guys kind of reached out and said, well, just make sure that he is not this third party kind of seller. I don't
Wholesale.
remember what the term
Whole,
was.
yep, wholesalers determine, and we'll come across it a lot. Like when we run our numbers, our goal is to make 10 to 20%. And so what we do, our formula is, what's this house worth after repairs? We put a comprehensive scope of work together. And because we flip as many houses as we do, we get like wholesale or preferential pricing from our contractors. And then like I said, our goal is to make 10 to 20%. That's how we back into our offers. And a lot of times we'll go into to situations where a lot of times we're the highest offer, but sometimes people come in, I think drastically, double digit percentage over what we can even offer. And more often than not, in my experience, those are wholesalers. And for anyone watching this, if it's okay, Angela, I'll just kind of explain.
Yeah.
A wholesaler essentially puts a house under contract, and then they take that contract and they try to sell it to a different buyer and make, usually $15,000. Sometimes even I've seen wholesalers make over $50,000 on a single contract.
Oh,
But
wow.
but they actually have no intention on actually closing. They don't have the cash to close. They don't intend to actually ever close, which technically is illegal. It's hard to prove, though. They're unlicensed realtors to anyone listening. And yeah, so it sounds like maybe that's you were dealing with someone like that, which I'm not saying it's good, bad, or indifferent, but there are a lot of wholesalers out there, and it sounds like maybe that's who you were dealing with. Um,
Yeah.
but um, but yeah, Angela. So I guess to wrap things up, with all that said, what was your experience like working with us? Were we timely? Were we communicative? Were you happy with what you got? And if you could kind of just share any last words, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I felt like communication has been excellent all the way through. And in the course of us talking, it's been a number of months. I think the first time that we talked, it was back in June, and now we're in October. And during that time, I was going through a high risk pregnancy. I had a baby prematurely, and you were willing to work with those obstacles on my end in terms of timing and timeline and things like that. And then when we started talking again, the government shut down. I'm a federal worker, so I haven't been paid for the last month, and you were willing to work that way. And so you have been amazing in all of the ways. You've been really responsive, you've been really helpful, you've been informative, you've been really forthright and honest on what you can and can't do and what your thoughts are on things. And I really, really appreciate all of that. I was really kind of nervous going into this,
Mhm.
but every step of the way, you guys have kind of reassured me, and it really felt like you guys were on my side too. And I really appreciate that a lot.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I appreciate the fact that you reached out to us and gave us the opportunity, and thank you for for doing this and sharing kind of your
Thank you.
experience. I think it's helpful to people that might be in a similar situation. And yeah, at the end of the day, everything's worked out. And
Yeah.
yeah, so thank you so much, Angela. You've been great to work with, and happy we were able to help.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. I wish you guys nothing but the best and total success.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.
Perfect. So we're good. So okay,
Good.
let's see if I can stop the
Perfect.
recording. Thank you for doing that. I
Oh, of
appreciate that.
course. Are you kidding me?
Contact us today and let's begin your hassle-free home selling journey together. Thank you. Quack, quack.